All right, folks, it's Friday once again, and you know what that means. It's time for Orbit once more. It is week 8 of Orbit, and I did have an episode planned about Nintendo, but I ended up oversleeping, so now we're going to talk about next gen stuff. Still going to do the Nintendo episode. It's just going to take me a couple more weeks until after all this next gen excitement has sort of blown over. So that will be coming, but for right now, let's talk about some next gen stuff. And yesterday, we got some very exciting, very fun news, and I use the word fun as loosely as it could possibly be used. We got some news that, well, Chris Lee, the studio head at 343 Industries, has stepped down, and this is the latest in a series of bad news that has been following Microsoft's flagship series, Halo, and the supposed flagship launch title, Halo Infinite, which has now been delayed indefinitely into 2021. It is just bad news bears all around. Last year, last August 2019, we had Tim Longo leave, and he was the creative director over at 343 working on Halo Infinite. And I'm just at a point with this game where I'm completely over it and I'm completely sick of it. I am. I really, really am. I've sat here and I've been patient. I've been hopeful, but this is not looking good. I'm going to tell you straight up. And if any of you guys know me, you know that I am a big fan of Halo and a big fan of the Xbox platform. But let me be real for a second, guys. 343 Industries is hurting Microsoft. 343 is just, I don't even know what to say at this point. Ever since they took over the Halo series, it has just been a bumpy ride all around. It's been a bumpy, rocky ride. It has not been stable. It has not seen the success that it saw under Bungie. And people like to attribute it to many factors. Some people like to say that other shooters just got more popular, and Halo kind of, is a franchise that didn't age as well, or whatever reasonings that you may have, right? The fact still remains that Halo was a massive series. Halo was a system selling series for Microsoft's platform during the Xbox 360 generation, and there was no reason at all, rather, that couldn't happen in the Xbox One platform. It's entirely the fault of 343 and the leadership over at 343. It's entirely ridiculous. This company is making Microsoft look like a bunch of idiots. Really, they are. I mean, it's making them look like a bunch of morons who don't know what they're doing, a bunch of idiots who don't know how to even put out one single good game. That's what it's making them look like. Because the biggest complaint about the Xbox One for its entirety of that generation was that there were no big exclusives. There were no exclusives that could match Sony's output of AAA first-party content that they were slamming out year after year, like 2 or 3 games a year, big AAA titles. That's been the biggest complaint about the Xbox platform, and it really makes them look stupid now that they're sitting here with the most powerful console on the planet, right? With all these bells and whistles, and everything else surrounding Microsoft is so positive and so good right now, but the one thing that just completely shot a nail through their hot air balloon is 343 messing up Halo Infinite. Halo Infinite was the killer launch title. The killer launch title for the Xbox Series X. That was it. It was Halo Infinite. Halo Infinite was the killer app at launch, and now it's gone. And these problems with 343 aren't just with Halo Infinite. If any of you out there have been following Halo for any length of time, you'll know that as soon as 343 took the helm with Halo 4, they changed a bunch of stuff, tried to make the game more modern and more like other shooters like Call of Duty. They added in kill streaks and customized loadouts to the multiplayer. People didn't like it. With Halo MCC, the game was unplayable for like the first couple of years. Of course, people didn't like that. With Halo 5, the game launched with bare bones content, and the one of the crappiest campaigns in terms of plot. And people didn't like that either. It's just how many times is Microsoft going to let this company keep screwing things up before they really just say, listen, you, and you need to go. We need new management. We need new people. We need new heads working this company. That's what needs to happen. 343 is killing Microsoft's credibility right now. They're killing it. They're absolutely killing it. It's gotten to the point where I'm sitting here and I'm just like, 343, I think 343 needs to just be taken off of Halo because they just can't do it. They have not proven they have not proven a single time that they can do this job at all. It's completely ridiculous. But you know what? I'll just consider that my introductory rant because this episode is not all about 343 being a mess. This is about the strategies of both platform holders, PlayStation and Microsoft, when it comes to launching their next generation machines. 343 and their whole entire mess of an organization is just the spark that lit the flame today, folks. We're talking next gen launch strategies. And let's start off with this hot take, I guess. I think that Microsoft needs to have a clearer roadmap, more akin to what PlayStation has, because Sony has laid out pretty clearly what we can expect in the first year of PlayStation 5. They have. I mean, they absolutely just 100% have. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Sony has gone on record saying, look, we've got all of these games that are ready for next generation coming 2021, even though I doubt most of them are going to be coming 2021. And those titles are as follows. We've got Horizon Forbidden West. That's planned for 2021. Ratchet & Clank: A Rift Apart is planned for 2021. I predict Rift Apart will probably be an early 2021 title. We've got Returnal, which is planned for 2021. Deathloop was planned for launch but got delayed till 2021, but that's a launch exclusive. Destruction All-Stars, which we just learned today that instead of coming out launch day for PlayStation 5 is going to be delayed to February of 2021, and it's going to be launching in PlayStation Plus for all of you PlayStation Plus subscribers. And God of War Ragnarok is also been announced for 2021, and that's a title that I really don't believe is going to come out in 2021 because 2 years is not a turnaround. Is not a healthy turnaround at all for a sequel, right? Not unless it's like a side story or like a standalone expansion or something like that. But I don't know. It seems like a full-blown sequel. I don't know. And also the fact that they didn't even show off that much of God of War. All they did was show off like the title screen with some voiceover in the background. Listen, that game ain't coming out in 2021. It ain't happening. I don't believe it even slightly. But that's pretty much what the roadmap is looking like for PlayStation in 2021. Pretty good stuff there. Yeah, I'd say so, right? At least what's planned. We don't know what's actually going to happen, but what's planned is looking pretty impressive. And then we've got Microsoft. And Microsoft, at their July showcase, they showed off a ton of games that I'm personally very excited for. We got another glimpse at Everwild. We got a look at, what's that game by Obsidian? Avowed. That looks awesome. We got a look at, what is that? Now I'm drawing a blank here, right? So we got to look at Everwild, we got to look at Avowed, we got to look at State of Decay 3, we got to look at Fable, the Fable reboot. I don't need to name more. Look, the point is we got a bunch of games, right? But we don't know when they're coming. A lot of people are speculating 2022 to 2023 because there was no gameplay shown for any of these games. There wasn't even really anything that was seen supposedly running in engine or something like that, or anything like that. It was just kind of more so like teaser trailers, like, hey, this is coming, and this is coming, and that was about it. We don't really know for sure what's slated for 2021. We don't, but on PlayStation we do. So the roadmap for PlayStation 5 is much clearer. It's much more cut and dry. It's much more, hey, we've got these titles planned for next year. Look forward to them. More to come in the future. Boom, done. We don't know what's going to happen with Microsoft. It seems like Microsoft has announced a bunch of stuff for the distant future, but we don't know what's going to be happening in the near future. And that's what's important when you launch a platform, especially for me, because I'm the guy who's got to buy one of these things or both of these things, and have them sitting in my bedroom. Ay, ay, ay. It's just ridiculous. So, I also wanted to talk about the fact that, and coming off of just, the whole entire, roadmap strategy thing, Microsoft's been pushing a lot about their hardware and what their hardware is going to do for pre existing software, but we need new software, don't we? Don't we need something new to really, hitch our wagons to? Don't we need something different? Something that can only run on an Xbox Series X? Something that can only run, on a PS5, which, I mean, we do have games that are only going to be running on PS5. We have a few of them. But, you know, that's my point. Like, don't we need something that's only going to be on Xbox Series X? And they did announce some games that were only going to be on Series X. But again, those games aren't coming for another year, or maybe two. You know, I'm predicting not until 2022 to 2023 because we didn't get any solid. Hey, this is slated for 2021 type of. We didn't get those types of deals at all, and I'm very nervous about this. I'm very, very nervous. It seems like Microsoft and their studios are just not ready for this launch at all. And honestly, I was thinking that same thing about PlayStation. I was like, with the silence that PlayStation was giving us leading up to this launch, in my head, that got me thinking. I was like, I don't know if Sony's really ready for this launch the way that they're making it out to be. I don't know if Sony's really ready to launch the PlayStation 5 the way that they want us to think they are. But here we have the PlayStation 5 with a buttload of games for us to play. And here we have the Xbox Series X with pretty much nothing but enhanced ports of Xbox One games. That's pretty much it. We need the big name exclusives. We need the games that are going to sell the system. That's what we need. That's what we need. We need at least something, right? Overall, I think that the hardware, like I said, the hardware for Microsoft is looking amazing. But software always trumps hardware. Software is always going to trump hardware. You can look throughout gaming history at countless examples. I don't even need to list them. It's pretty much common knowledge at this point. Software is always going to trump the hardware. It just always is. Not unless there's like a massive generational gap between, the two. But even then, like look at the Wii. You know what I mean? Look at the Wii versus the 360 and the PS3. It sold more than both of those consoles. And its hardware was a generation behind. So, yeah, software is always going to trump hardware. It just always is. And Microsoft's hardware is looking stupendous. From what I've heard, it is some of the finest craftsmanship that the games industry has ever seen. But without a solid, without a solid foundation for that hardware, without solid software to back up that hardware and to prove the power and to prove the potential of that hardware, what do you really have? We've seen on the PlayStation 5 that Spider-Man Miles Morales is going to have some level of ray tracing. It's going to have enhanced versions. It's going to have way quicker load times and instant fast traveling. We've seen Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart with its ray tracing, with its extremely fast and snappy SSD technology that's allowing you to jump through all these different world environments super quickly. We've seen in Demon's Souls the difference between loading speeds in this version, which are basically instant, versus the loading screens of the original game. We've seen that. We've seen that on PlayStation 5 hardware. We haven't really been seeing all of these things from Xbox's hardware. We need a showcase for this hardware. We need a showstopper. And that's what Halo Infinite was supposed to be. And here I go right back talking about 343 because they just pissed me off so bad. Oh, they just really got under my skin with that. I'm so sick of 343. I'm so sick of Bonnie Ross. Oh my God. I'm so sick of it. Get it together. Let's get it together. Get it together. Get it together. That's all I'm saying. Just get it together. This is a development studio working for $1 trillion company, and you're telling me they can't crank out one game in a span of like 5 years. It's been 5 years, dude. 5 years since Halo 5. 5 years since Halo 5. Halo 5 came out in 2015. It's been 5 years. What's going on? Where's Halo Infinite? What's happening? What's really happening here? Like, come on. Let's get it together, all right? Overall, it just seems like Sony has more of a plan than Microsoft does. We've seen their roadmap. We've seen what they're planning for in 2021. And overall, it seems like they know where they want to be come November of 2021, come the 1 year anniversary of launch, and it's always about that first year. Because consoles launch, right? They come out, right? They come out, they hit the scene, and they're big. They can be there can be huge launches. There's often shortages of consoles at launch, but I would argue that the most important thing for a console is that first year, and especially it's that second holiday season. The first holiday season that occurs right at launch is important. But the second holiday season is even more important because that's when people have had the time to really digest these systems, to really save up their pennies for these systems, to really consider which of these systems that they want. And that first year for Sony is looking so good, and the first year for Microsoft is looking just so sparse. I don't know what kind of content is going to be coming in year one, and that's why it's been very, very hard for me to justify purchasing an Xbox Series X at launch, because it's like, do I really need it, or can I just keep my Xbox One? You know what I mean? I need a PlayStation 5 because I need it in order to play Demon Souls. And even though that's one game, even if Microsoft had just one game, I would say, okay, well, I need a Series X. I need it to be able to play this one game that I really want to play. Plus, like it's more like incentive to upgrade, right? It's kind of like think back to PlayStation 2, right? PlayStation 2 games you couldn't play on a PlayStation 1. So you needed to upgrade it, right? But even if most of the PlayStation 2 games you weren't that interested in, if there was just one game that you really, really wanted, that might be enough to say, you know what, I'll just buy one, because at the end of the day, I can play all my old games on this one, and I can play my new stuff on it, right? Plain and simple. But if suppose the PlayStation 2 had launched with like no games, right? And it was just like, hey, well, it's better than your original PlayStation. Well, it plays all the same games. It's just, it has all these features too. Nobody would want it. Nobody would buy it. And I'm not trying to be super hard on Microsoft. I love the Xbox. I love Halo. I love them both. The Xbox is my platform of choice this generation. I love it. Love it so much. But I just got to be honest here. There's not really much incentive for me to buy this box right now. Microsoft's plan, or lack thereof, is not really making me want to go out and buy an Xbox Series X at launch. Overall, it just seems to me like Microsoft as a company has not reached that level of reliability that we've seen from Nintendo and Sony. And yeah, I'm even throwing Nintendo into the mix. Ooh, I'm shaking things up here. It seems like Microsoft has not reached that level of reliability that Sony's been at, where people trust Sony. They know Sony is going to bring them games that they want to play. People trust Nintendo because they know Nintendo's going to bring them games they want to play. I will say this even. I had a Wii U, right? I could have bought Breath of the Wild on Wii U, but I bought a Switch, and I bought Breath of the Wild on Switch because I knew Nintendo would bring the games. I knew Nintendo was bringing the games. I knew they were, because I knew Breath of the Wild's on this thing. Okay, that's for one. And then Super Mario Odyssey is on this thing. And I say Breath of the Wild because Breath of the Wild, again, it was on Wii U. I could have got it on Wii U, but I got it on Switch because I trusted Nintendo, not just with Mario, but I trusted them to have more software down the line. It's the same exact situation here with the PlayStation. I pre-ordered my PlayStation because it's got Demon Souls, and I want to play Demon Souls. But on top of that, it's got more games coming down the line. And one thing the Switch did not have, it has backwards compatibility. Backwards compatibility that allows me to play all my PS4 games and completely retire my PS4 Pro. Finally. Just finally. That thing was a piece of crap anyway. But it allows me to retire my PS4 Pro. And the Series X should, in theory, do the same thing. It's just that there's no killer app. And you need at least one thing. At least one. At least for me. I don't know about you guys out there, but at least for me. It just overall seems like Microsoft's just not at that level of reliability. It's not like Microsoft's not at the level where they announce a game and I trust that it's going to be the greatest thing I've ever played in my life. They're not at that level yet. Not even. I don't trust 343. I trust the Coalition. I trust Playground Games. I'm excited about their products. I trust Ninja Theory. I trust Rare. But I don't trust 343. Obsidian I hasn't really been proven yet. I'm excited about what they've got to offer, but they're not really proven. And that's the thing. A lot of these studios aren't proven. Undead Labs is kind of an unproven, untested studio. Compulsion Games, same thing. I don't even know. There's tons. Like, In Exile, same thing, right? Like these are not studios that I trust entirely. They're not studios that are as reliable. They're not studios that are tried and true and have stood the test of time the same way that Sony studios are, the same way that Nintendo's games have. It's not the same thing. It's just not. And I think that it's going to take time for Microsoft to build that up. I think they can do it, but I think it's just going to definitely take time for them to build it up. And I don't know if they've got enough time. I don't know if they've got the time now to do that because launch is happening. It's imminent and they've got nothing on the table. So it really is a situation where I'm sitting and I'm just kind of like looking at them. I'm like, whoa, what's going to happen? I don't think Microsoft's going to stop making Xboxes anytime soon. No. They're still making tons of money off of these things, but what's going on? You know what I mean? Where's the games? Microsoft needs to kick the doors down and say to the world, hey, world, we just bought Bethesda. If you want Elder Scrolls, if you want Doom, if you want this or that or whatever other Bethesda properties that they own, if you want these things, you buy them on Xbox or you don't buy them at all. I want that kind of ruthlessness because Bethesda's a name you can trust. I want that kind of ruthlessness because I want Microsoft to have great games. Why wouldn't I, right? Why wouldn't I want them to have great games? If Microsoft is making great games, that just means that there's more games to play. And that's always a good thing. That's always a good thing. I just want them to have better games because I want more games to play. This isn't about them. This is about me. This is entirely about me. I don't care about, like I care about Microsoft. I care about the Xbox, brand loyalty, yada, yada, yada. But this is about me, damn it. Like, damn it, this is about me. I want games for me. That's why I have every platform because I want to play every good game. I don't want to just play some of them. I want to play all of them. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Microsoft. So much potential squandered, wasted. But I think they can turn it around. It'll take time and it'll be difficult. In terms of sales for the console, I don't know how the Xbox Series X is going to do. I think it'll do just fine. But I definitely think that Microsoft is getting off to a bit of a rocky start here. I think they've got the hardware, and once they get the software to back it up, which shouldn't take them longer than a year or two, but once that happens, then they'll really be in the driver's seat, and then they'll really be able to compete with Sony, at least at some sort of a level. But overall, they need to change public perception. They need to make sure that the public is completely just aware that Microsoft is a major player in the game. They need to ensure that the public sees them as an option, that the public sees them as a contender in the console space. Otherwise, they're going to be looking at another Xbox One situation where they're just going to be on the bottom, scrambling, chasing after Sony's heels the entire generation. And I don't think anybody really wants that. I don't want to see a Microsoft where they're, playing catch up with Sony the whole time. I want to see a Microsoft where they're in a position to take risks and to do big things. I want to see a heated competition between these two platform holders because when the competition gets hot, that's when the greatest things start to happen. That's when the greatest innovations and the greatest games start to come out. It's just a fact of life. It's just a fact of gaming. It just is. But that's how I feel about this whole entire thing. That's how I feel about the next gen offerings, the next generation launch strategies. I think PlayStation is in a way better position right now. I think that them offering even Bug Snacks and Destruction All-Stars on PS Plus is a great idea. I think that them offering the PS Plus collection of PS4 games is a great idea. I think that everything that they've been doing, such as like outlining a lot of the games that are going to be available on PS5 in the launch year, is a good idea. Even though I think Horizon Zero Dawn and God of War Ragnarok are coming out so early because of the fact that they're using the same PS4 engines, and therefore what we're really going to be getting on PS5 is just enhanced ports of PS4 games because they're going to be using the same engines. I think that even still, just having that software available on PS5 is a great idea because we know that bigger and better software is on the way. We know it is. We know it is. We know it is. And Microsoft, I think that what they've got, loaded up in the barrel is looking very promising. Fable's looking very promising. Everwild's looking promising. Status Decay 3 is looking promising. Avowed is looking very promising. I think that we're on track to see a lot of great things from both of these platform holders. But in terms of launch, PlayStation's got the lead right now. It's not to say that Microsoft can't catch up, but that's just the way it is. But I'm going to go ahead and wrap things up here from my end. I hope that everybody did enjoy this episode of ranting. Yeah, I know I did kind of rant a little bit this time around, but hey, I'm a passionate player. What can I say? Hope you guys stick around for next week's Orbit. We're going to be talking more next-gen stuff. It's going to be a much better episode, I hope, because I'm going to be having a guest on with me next week. 343, please get it together. Either Microsoft needs to either fix that studio or get a new studio to take over Halo, because what 343 is doing right now is absolutely an entire mess and a half. I think that Sony is doing a great job with their launch of their system. I think that they've taken all the right steps and are headed in the right direction. Microsoft just needs to follow suit. But I need to get something to drink because my mouth is very dry from yelling about video games for like a half an hour. I hope everybody has a great weekend and stays safe, stays healthy, and stays alive. We'll see you next Friday with more Orbit. Bye-bye now.